Unit 4 focuses on the symbols and words used in music that indicate that all or part of the music will be repeated. This is a repeat sign. When you see a repeat sign in the music, you will do one of two things. You will either return to its mirror image and repeat the music from that point, or if there is no partner repeat sign, then you return to the beginning and repeat the music from that point. Here we see an example where there is a repeat sign at the end of the line, and there is its mirror image here. In this scenario, you start at the beginning and you go until you see this repeat sign. Then you go back to measure 3, where this mirror image is, and you repeat the music that falls between the repeat signs. So again, we would do measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, measure 4, measure 5. We repeat measure 3, 4, and 5. Listen to how it sounds. We can go ahead and sing this on the solfege syllables, which I will add below the counts. So this is going to start on Do. C in this case is Do, based on the key signature, which we will talk about later. So we're starting on Do. If C on this ledger line is Do, the space above that, one step up, is Re. Continuing up by step is Mi. Notice this descends. So we have Re, it goes back up, Mi, Fa, and then it steps down from this bottom space to this bottom line. So we have Mi, Re, Do, and we end on Do. Let's go ahead and sing this on solfege. Here are 3 beats of metronome clicks. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do. And let's listen to it one more time. Now let's look at another example. Here we see that at the end of measure 4, there's a repeat sign. Since there's no partner repeat sign, no mirror image partner, we're going to go back to the beginning and repeat the whole example. So again, we will go measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's listen to this example. We can also sing this on the solfege syllables. Let's listen to this one last time. Sometimes in music we'll see words instead of repeat signs. In this example, we see a double bar line in the middle of the example, which doesn't seem to make sense. You wouldn't sing measures 1, 2, and 3 and then stop, because then what would the point be of measures 4 and 5? What we actually do here is we sing past this double bar line, go to the end of measure 5, where it says DC al fine. DC is an abbreviation for da capo. Capo from the same root as cap or capital. This is telling us to go back to the head, to the top, to the beginning of the example, and repeat until we see the word fine. Fine comes from the same root as final or finish, and this is your finish line. So we would sing measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, repeat measures 1, 2, and 3, and then stop. Let's listen to the example. So let's sing this example on solfege. Our lowest note is do, and we ascend up through re, mi, fa, sol. Eventually, when we get to this measure here, measure 5, we get up to la. That's our highest note. And our lowest note is do. Here we go. Here are 4 clicks of the metronome. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And let's listen to it one more time. Here we have another example where there's no repeat sign, but there are indications that when we get to the end of the line, that's not actually the end of the example. Here we have a thin double bar line. The final double bar line happens here at the end of measure 4. We see the word fine, so this is the finish line. We see al fine, similar to the DC al fine from the previous example. Here, however, it says DS. DS means go back to the sign. DS stands for dal segno. Here's the sign that it's referring to. So to perform this example, we would sing measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go back to the sign and sing measure 3 and 4 and stop at the finish line. So let's listen to this. we can sing this example on solfege as well. Notice it starts on Do. It's in the key of C, so C is Do. Here in measure 5, we have Re, Mi, Re, Do, and then it descends one note lower below Do. If you think backwards down the scale, Do goes down to T, Do, Re. So measure 5 will be Re, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, Do, Re, which will sound like this. Re, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, Do, Re. And then the highest note we have is La. So the lowest note is Ti, and the highest note is La. So this example has an extended range. Let's try it. You'll hear 4 metronome clicks, and then we'll begin. Do, re, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Let's listen to this example one more time. Our next topic is DC al coda. DC, if you remember, means da capo. Capo coming from the same root as capital or cap. So when we see DC, that means go back to the head, to the top, to the beginning. Al coda means and sing until the coda sign. That's what this circle with the cross through it is. So our roadmap is we would sing measure 1, 2, 3, and 4. We get to this thin double bar line and go back to the top and sing measure 1 and measure 2. When we see this coda sign at the end of measure 2, we jump to the coda and sing the last 2 measures. The coda is the tail, is what that means. So let's listen to how this sounds. So if you noticed, the second time through when it was repeating, it skipped measures 3 and 4 when the coda sign happened and jumped to this where the coda is. So we could sing this example on solfege. It starts on C, it's in the key of C, so we're starting on Do. It goes up to Fa and comes down again. The lowest note that we have here is T. Notice it's one space below Do, so we go backwards down the scale from Do down to T. So this would be performed as mi, re, do, ti, do, o. Mi, re, do, ti, do. Let's go ahead and sing this. You'll hear 3 beats of metronome before we begin. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re. Do, re, mi, re, do, ti, do. And let's listen to it one more time. This example uses DS, dal segno, which we already learned. It also uses al coda, which we just learned about in the previous example. The coda is the tail, the ending section. So notice here, we start at measure 1, sing measure 2, measure 3, and measure 4. We stop at this thin double bar line and go back to the sign, DS, dal segno. Starting at measure 2 and then sing measure 3. When we get to this coda symbol, we skip and go to the end and sing measures 5 and 6. This is how it sounds. Let's go ahead and sing this example. It starts on Do because it's in the key of C, and it's starting on C. C is Do. Goes up to Fa and all the way down to Ti. So this measure 5 sounds like this. Mi, re, do, ti, do. It's a very common ending pattern. Let's try singing this example. You'll hear 2 clicks of the metronome, and then we'll begin. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi. Re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do. And let's listen to it one last time. We're now going to talk about first and second endings. Here you see a measure with a repeat sign and a bracket over that measure with the number 1. Next you see a bracket with the number 2 over it. These are first and second endings. To perform music with first and second endings, you start at the beginning, go until the repeat sign. When you repeat, the second time through, you skip the music that is under the number 1 bracket and sing the music under the number 2 bracket. That's the ending of the second time through. Let's look at an example that uses first and second endings. For this example, we would sing the beginning, measures 1 through 7, and continue with measures 8 and 9, where we see the repeat sign. We go back to the beginning, sing measures 1 through 7 again. Instead of singing measures 8 and 9, however, this time we skip those and sing measures 10 and 11 to get to the end of the example. You may recognize this song. Let's go ahead and listen to it. Notice the second ending is more conclusive than the first ending. Da 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 is the first ending, and the second ending, da 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 da, right down the scale. You may recognize this as fa mi re do, ending on tonic. So the name of this song is Beautiful Dreamer. You might have recognized it. So let's go ahead and sing it on the words. Here we see the words. So we start with beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. At the repeat sign, we're going to read the words on the second line for the second verse. Sounds of the rude world heard in the day, led by the moonlight have, we skip this, all passed away. So let's try this. Ready? Here we go. Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. Sounds of the rude world heard in the day, led by the moonlight have all passed away. Let's listen to it one more time without the text. We've covered quite a bit of information in this unit, so let's take a moment to review. If you see only one repeat sign, that means to go back to the very beginning and repeat the music. The abbreviation DC means to go back to the beginning. The abbreviation DS means go back to the sign. Fine indicates the end of the piece. This is used when the conclusion of the music seems to be in the middle of the piece. The coda is the tail section of a piece. First and second endings indicate that the end of the music will be different, even though the phrase has repeated. On the repeat, you will skip over the first ending and sing the second ending instead.